So, wanted to do this video. It's a introduction video to the YouTube that I created. Of why I started doing videos, but not only doing the videos, but the content that I do, the reasons behind that. So, there came to a point in my life. I've always been an observer. I've always been somebody who internally processes stuff, and I've always been a person who asks why. I wanted to understand things. More important, I wanted to understand humans. I wanted to understand what makes them choose the way they choose, especially if they're choosing opposite of what they really want. And when you start digging into that stuff, it gets really deep. You start hitting areas of the unseen. First of all, understanding yourself. I started with myself during the process, and then understanding yourself helps you to understand others, so that you can understand the choices that they make. You can understand samples of why people pick irrationally, why they destroy their own families, why they make choices that they do that might be destructive to their own growth or their well-being, their mental state. And ultimately, you come up with not only finding out why they choose, but why they don't choose too. So as I dove deeper, I started to understand that generally the process that I came about of doing this, we are as humans usually distracted most of the time. So in order to go through this process, you actually have to basically sit alone and not be distracted. You have to set yourself apart from this world, because most of this world is advertisement. It's non-stop noise and stimuli to our senses non-stop. So whether that be you wake up, your TV, your phone, the radio, even basic sounds like car sound, and all that stuff distracts us. A lot of stuff distracts us from the true meaning of life, which is I wanted to know the true meaning of life. I wanted to know what it is that we're here to do, one, and I wanted to know, how do you get to peace? So in order to get to peace, you look around the world and you see a lot of dysfunction. And my question was, why is there so much dysfunction? Why are people acting the way they do? Why are certain things the way they are? And ultimately what I got down to is most of the choices we make, some of it are their effects of other choices, whether it be somebody else chose or didn't choose, and that leads us to choose. So that's behavior patterns, generational curses. There's a number of elements that it could be the way we're brought up, the way we learn, the way we perceive. All of those are reasons of why we choose and don't choose. Ultimately, I learned that it was two categories. There's it comes down to either fear or it's almost like fear and courage. So we might choose for courage, or we might not choose because of fear. For fear also leads us to choose the wrong things. You see that a lot too. So ultimately, this channel was brought up to get my thoughts about the human psyche, the human conditioning, behavioral conditioning that we go through in life, especially when you think of a concept of role models, or you're looking up to people, and you might be younger than that person, or you might be older than that person, and you start to question things of if they're older, if they're supposed to be more wise, if they're supposed to be more experienced in life, why would they choose that? So you see it with celebrities. You wonder why they have everything. Essentially, they have everything they want. They have money, they have fame, but they're still going through everyday things uh, in which they're choosing to do things that destroy what other people are trying to obtain, which is ultimately everybody's trying to attain happiness and peace. Now, whether you put end towards that obtaining, meaning you do the work to obtain that, that's a choice on you, or whether you don't choose, that's on you too. Uh, but I started to question why everybody look up to certain things or people, and those people are having the same human experience as us. So ultimately, they're on the same playing ground as us. That the deeper I got in that kind of understanding, the deeper I got into trying to understand people and understand myself and trying to break down the human psyche, understanding things like emotional intelligence, understanding behavior patterns, maybe insecurities, psychology. Uh, you start to get down to the reasons of why, but not only do you get down why, but you also have an understanding, because once you understand yourself, you understand why people can choose the way they do, and you have empathy for them. So ultimately, this channel was created for those who wanted a learning curve. I wanted to give people a learning curve of skipping through or digging through the stuff that might delay them from getting to that point. Uh, it might delay them from obtaining. It might stagnate them in their own personal growth. And that's not to say that I have all the answers. However, in order to, you don't know what you don't know. So if you're choosing but not understanding the awareness of why you're choosing, which is introspection, really. If you're not aware of introspection, or if you have never been exposed to it, or if you have never been in a position where you have been put in that position to do that, or whether you have been in that position but you have fared and you have uh, kind of swerve away from it, it's going to delay your process. And the ultimate goal of this channel was awareness, to help humans or people, especially in relatable situations, to be able to be aware of why we are choosing the things that we choose on a daily basis, things that affect us in the long run, things that affect our overall personal growth, spiritual growth, uh, our mental sanity, and the cycles that create us or impact us. So that's a short video I wanted to do. It's kind of a long video, but it's an introduction of what this channel is or about, or it might be even what I'm about. But ultimately, if you are following this channel, that's pretty much why I started the content I did. So that's the APF truth.